Hey everybody, it's Saturday night and we're going to do a feeding video here on my native tank, but we're going to do something a little bit different. First of all, I want to have a little bit of chat about the tank and about the feeding of this tank, and then we're going to set the tripod up and I'm going to feed the Warmouth that's in there with my PVC tube, and that small green sunfish that's off to the right of the tank now that's swimming around so actively. He may sort of barge in on the feeding tube once it goes in there, because he's already figured out the trick and sticks his face right up inside the tube. But more on that later. Right now, I want to talk about these green sunfish. I have two of them in the tank now. So far, they haven't been fighting. Their colors are coming in very nicely. This one's beautiful. I really like this one a lot. I could, in a sense, see this one being a permanent inhabitant in the tank, except for, if you haven't noticed anything odd by now, you will notice there are no more minnows in the tank. I have one rosy-sided dace left, and it is all beat the hell up. It's missing scales, it's scraped and scratched, and that is it. I noticed yesterday afternoon there was two minnows left, two of these rosy-sided dace, and they were the largest in the tank, and now we are down to one. So I did a feeding video yesterday where I fed the tank some tadpoles, and I had a few people, that weren't real happy about me putting live food in there, and I can understand that. I expected a little bit of that. But I've said before, and I want to make it clear again, that this is a native tank. It's going to be treated like a native tank, and in the native habitat with these fish, they are predatory. They will eat other animals. We're going to have multiple crayfish in this tank at some point, and the crayfish will fight each other. They will tear each other limb from limb and fight for dominance. At some point, we will probably wind up settling on some kind of permanent, balanced community in here where nobody's going to be eating anybody or attacking anybody. But for a while, through the summer, we're going to be able to witness, we'll call it pseudo-natural behavior. Of course, it's not going to be natural behavior since they're more or less trained, that I feed them and so on and so forth. But the tadpoles going in was originally an experiment. I really did want to see if I could just get some tadpoles to live in the tank for a little while, and they got gobbled up pretty quickly. So I tried a second time, and they equally got as gobbled up. So I'm not going to be putting stuff in the tank deliberately like that for the sake of feeding the fish. But as I put different animals in the tank, different minnows, different sunfish, bass, what have you, fish are going to get eaten. Crayfish are going to get eaten off of the bottom. Crayfish are going to attack and eat each other. So this is going to be a little bit of a rough and tumble tank, and that's just all there is to it, because it's going to be like the native environment these fish come from. They're very aggressive and they are voracious predators. So tonight all we're going to do is feed with the PVC tube, and we're going to put some frozen bloodworms in there. Of course, we're going to thaw them out first. But notice how the golden shiners all sort of huddle down. They pack together more tightly. They stay down low. They definitely know they're in a tank with predators now, so the behavior in this tank has changed completely. The feel of this tank has changed completely. And I'm not sure if I'm really digging it or not. Again, this tank is going to change quite a bit as time goes on, and we'll see. We'll find out what works and what doesn't, and so on and so forth. But let me get set up. We are going to actually get the PVC tube in right down here, and you can see the small green sunfish already knows what's coming, and by the time I get the tube in there, I'm hoping the little warmouth will come out, but honestly, the warmouth might not even be in there either. I haven't seen it yet, but we'll have a look for that in just a few minutes. So let me get set up. Alright, everybody. I can see that the sunfish knows it's coming. And I still do not yet see the Little brown warmouth. Oh, I did see it. It is still in there. Good. So it should come over too. But look into the rocks for it because it's been laying low. I think it knows that it's got some larger predatory fish in there. Real quickly, I'm hoping this is coming out on camera. I always rinse my bloodworms off first. I just fill this glass with water, let them melt into the bottom, pour off the dirty water, refill it, pour off the dirty water. Do that a couple times until it's nice and clear. If you don't, it's no big deal, but the binding agent they use is guar gum, and it will actually blow up your phosphates a little bit if you put that water into your tank. So no biggie if you do it. It'll just make it a little more prone to things like algae. So you can see this sunfish down here is already kind of taking control. So I try to get some of them to go down into the rocks there so he can't get to them as much. And I just pour them in the top. Let some of them sink to the bottom, pour a little more water in. I try not to get them to go all in at once so they don't come out in a big clump, but you can see he's already sticking his head right inside there. He's not shy at all. It does not take these sunfish long at all to become very acclimated to human behavior, human activity. Very adaptable to fish tank life. Now, unfortunately, I can see the little warmouth. He's coming over now, but I think I might have to try to get this sunfish to go away a little bit first, and then maybe there comes the warmouth. See, now he's getting a few off the bottom. So let's pour a few more through here. See, now the warmouth, well, he almost came over. And that's what I was saying about, well, the warmouth just got one. We've got another one, so he is in there getting them. But I got to make sure the sunfish, which just will not take a hint. So that's what I was saying about not quite being sure whether this tank is going to stay the way it is or not. I really do enjoy these green sunfish. They're absolutely beautiful fish, but they are so aggressive and they have just gigantic mouths for their size. I had someone say earlier that it reminds them of a grouper, and I can totally see it being like a grouper. It's just got this enormous mouth on the front of it, and they eat anything they can fit in their mouth. They're really aggressive about it. So it's becoming tougher and tougher to get that little warmouth any food at all, and it's just a matter of time before one of these fish might even eat it. So we'll have to wait and see how things turn out. Again, this isn't necessarily going to be what stays in this tank for any length of time, but I would like to keep them in here for a little while, so we will see what happens. Anyway, make sure you're subscribed, that way you won't miss anything. I do have plenty of other tanks down here, and I've not forgotten about them. I will try to get to some of my other tanks and shoot some update videos coming up here real soon. So make sure you're subscribed. This is, of course, my native tank. Thanks again for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.